This manhole here is one of the major trunk lines within the city of Lewiston. PD is hoping to get more information through video that community members may have. You can stay updated with Idaho weather and road conditions by visiting 511.idaho.gov. For Lewiston Fire Department Fire Deputy Chief Richie Lucas, Christmas Day was supposed to be a day off, spending time with his family. But that all took a turn when his neighbors needed him most. On Saturday, the Clarkston Fire Department held their firefighter physical performance test. It's just one of 3 tests that need to be passed in order to qualify for placement on the eligibility list for firefighter paramedic. Here in the LC Valley, the YWCA has a variety of resources. If you or someone you know is a victim and or survivor of domestic violence or sexual assault, they can help you. House Bill 138 is set for a 3rd reading tomorrow morning. That will be the final meeting for a House vote where, if passed, it would be sent to the Senate. $25 million proposed bond will be put before voters on May 20th. If approved, the bond will fund upgrades to aging underground pipes, wastewater, and stormwater systems to bring them up to date with regulatory standards. Many of Lewiston's underground water pipes were built over a century ago. Over time, ground movement and changing weather conditions can cause leaks. As they get more and more frequent, the cost of water maintenance can add up quickly. City of Lewiston Water Maintenance Supervisor John Ruark says the repair process is lengthy, expensive, and dangerous.
It's a rather large process. We have to get locates and make sure that the gas and sewer and everything's located, and we got to get equipment. It usually happens on a weekend or at night.
Ruark says his staff have an important job that requires many hours of them away from family throughout the year.
These guys are very dedicated. They're very professional. And the city of Lewiston's lucky to have the team that I have.
The proposed project would install new higher quality pipelines. If they are not fixed soon, a catastrophic failure could be a much more expensive fix. Another area needing upgrades, the storm and wastewater systems. Engineering project supervisor Joe Kaufman says he's seen firsthand the aging infrastructure within the city as he's been working here for over a decade. They continue to degrade every year. As for the stormwater system, some are inadequate just at the neighborhood level.
We've spent a lot of effort and money in the last 15 years upsizing the large trunk lines that take it out of downtown and into the Corps levee ponds, but some places like in Main Street and D Street here really need connected to those larger trunk lines that we've already got in the ground in order to cure these local flooding problems.
An example is the catch basin located on the corner of 4th and D Street.
Runoff from Main Street, a block away, comes here and bubbles up and has a history of flooding the buildings on the corner here.
This is due to the city plumbing it to the sewer system instead of the stormwater system. This layout does not meet regulatory standards. The bond-funded project aims to fix the issue. The infrastructure upgrades would build an adequate storm system in place, making sure water flows to the trunk line located on 5th Street. This manhole here is one of the major trunk lines within the city of Lewiston. Most of the wastewater flow from all around the city, including the Lewiston orchards, passes through this pipeline on its way to the wastewater treatment plant. Kaufman mentioned that if the bond is not approved, the city would be working on repairs separately in smaller portions, reaching the finish line at a slower pace and forcing crews to tear up the same roads multiple times.
I do know that when you do a larger project, like a complete street rebuild with the infrastructure at the same time, instead of having wastewater, stormwater, water be done separately, that it costs less.
Councilwoman Cassie Forsman supported placing the bond initiative on the May 20th ballot, saying the city plans to use existing budgeted revenues to repay the bond. For those having concerns on the city raising taxpayer dollars, she says it's unlikely to happen.
Currently, right now, we have planned funds to pay for this without raising the tax base at all. And we don't plan to do that unless something maybe catastrophic happened that we needed funds to support something else, but this is a bond to not raise taxes.
Also making sure there is no safety hazards to the citizens of Lewiston. This initiative bond makes sure the public maintains safe.
If we have a sewage or a water pipe break, that could create a sinkhole, a safety hazard for people going down there, costly repairs, because when you plan for a repair, it is much more cost effective because you're planning to put that budget away, you're planning to put that money away.
These funds would also cover street repairs impacted by construction. If the revenues are not met to make future bond payments, the 20-year bond would result in a tax impact of $36.15 per $100,000 of taxable assessed value per year. To learn more information about the infrastructure upgrades, the City of Lewiston will be hosting an open house on Wednesday, March 19th from 5:30 to 7:30. Public Works will be there with stations to answer your questions and concerns. Reporting in Lewiston, Daniela, Julio-Cano, KLEW News. House Bill 138 could repeal Medicaid expansion in a 8-7 vote. The bill was sent to the House floor, denying a motion to hold the bill in committee. About 90,000 Idahoans who currently are enrolled in Medicaid expansion could receive a hit to coverage if it's repealed. Idaho Medicaid expansion was originally passed by initiative with 61% of the vote back in 2018. House Bill 138 would institute 11 side rails for the program and would immediately repeal expansion if any of them are not met by July of 2026. Those changes include a 36-month lifetime coverage limit, 20 weekly hours of work or volunteering, no funds for gender-affirming medical care, and twice-a-year reevaluations of eligibility. Representative Jordan Redmond introduced the bill, saying the intent was not to repeal Medicaid expansion, but make it more financially sustainable. I spoke with FICE State Lead Ambassador for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, Gary Offerdahl. He spends his time speaking with volunteers about upcoming legislation and doing community outreach for cancer information and awareness. For cancer patients, Offerdahl says having consistent and easy access to healthcare is vital. Early detection can lead to cheaper and more effective treatment, plus a higher chance of survival. Without Medicaid expansion, some patients may wait to get care until it's too late.
And it starts to become really a choice between, do you get the medical treatment that you need, or do you pay rent, or do you buy groceries? And that's not something that people should have to decide between.
Offerdahl says rural populations are particularly at risk.
Medicaid expansion has covered rural areas much more than it does the urban areas.
Facilities in rural areas already report financial resources being stretched thin.
If they're not getting the funding, if they're not getting the support from the state through programs such as this, they are barely swimming above above the tide.
And on the patient's side, many individuals in rural areas working multiple jobs to cover expenses. Oftentimes, those jobs are part-time or with local businesses and don't offer any type of private insurance coverage.
And that's where Medicaid expansion comes in, is it gives them an affordable insurance plan that they can put in place to have that coverage.
Dr. Kelly McGrath, a physician in Orofino, was one of several doctors who testified against the bill, worrying that putting a lifetime limit on coverage or repealing expansion could end in lives lost.
Recently, I had a patient tell me, without Medicaid, I would be dead. She was right. If she had put off going to the emergency room, as so many people like her do when they don't have insurance, her story would have had a tragic ending.
Offerdahl worries that without Medicaid expansion, cancer patients would need to pay out of pocket for early detection services and treatment, making already difficult treatments even harder to access.
It's unfair towards our area specifically. We have limited access already to a lot of different medical facilities. A lot of people are traveling large distances to try to get access to begin with.
House Bill 138 is set for a third reading tomorrow morning. That will be the final meeting for a House vote where, if passed, it would be sent to the Senate. In committee, Lewiston Representative Lori McCain was one of 7 members to vote not to introduce it. Reporting in studio, Daniela, Julio-Cano, KLEW News. Fire Department Fire Deputy Chief Richie Lucas, Christmas Day was supposed to be a day off, spending time with his family. But that all took a turn when his neighbors needed him most.
There are no words. There's nothing I could do for him to make it up to him.
Christmas Day, the Howie family expected a day filled with joy, happiness, and laughter. They had just finished opening presents. 2-year-old Lillian Howie grabbed some carrots, one of her favorite foods. Mother of 4, Janae, was building a basketball hoop with her son when she heard the sound of a parent's worst nightmare.
I ran upstairs and she was choking on a carrot. I immediately turned her over, slapped her back, finger swiped, and got most of it out.
Noticing that something was still stuck in the middle of Lillian's throat, Janae told her husband to call 911. Her husband also running out the door to grab his next door neighbor, who happened to be a paramedic and firefighter, Fire Deputy Chief Richie Lucas.
All of a sudden, this loud knock on my door came.
By one of many miracles, he was home, in the basement, building a toy with his son. His wife calling his name to tell him something was wrong with the neighbor's young daughter. Meanwhile, Lillian's lips were already turning blue and she was going limp. Richie ran to the Howie's home and began CPR. 2 minutes later, the ambulance showed up.
And when they arrived, they found Deputy Chief Lucas in the front yard working on this 2-year-old girl.
The Lewiston Fire Department was having a calm morning until the tide turned. By 10 a.m., crews were already dealing with numerous calls, leaving them with fewer resources. Around the same time that Lillian was choking, medics were about 2 blocks away at another call. Richie asked the arriving crews for specific medical equipment to look inside Lillian's airway.
The airway changed a little bit for me, so I decided to look in the mouth again. And when I looked in there, there was a carrot about the size of the end of your pinky sticking out through the vocal cords. And so I stuck a set of forceps in there, and when I pulled it out, she took a big breath.
Lillian was taken to St. Joseph's, but she began to show difficulty in breathing and had to be intubated. The ER staff found there was still some carrots stuck in her lungs, requiring a bronchoscopy. She would need to be transported to Seattle Children's Hospital, but weather in Lewiston kept air transport grounded. Deputy Chief Lucas decided to drive Lillian and Janae to Pullman himself. At Seattle Children's, Lillian was placed on life support. Janae and her husband unsure if their daughter was going to make it. But another miracle happened.
We got her back. We got her back, completely back. When I gave her to Richie, I didn't know if I'd ever get her back. And there were multiple times in the hospital at Seattle Children's that I didn't know if I'd ever get her back either.
The Howie family came back home on January 8th. Lillian is now happy, talking and walking. However, her recovery is still not over. For the next 6 months, Lillian will continue occupational, physical, and speech therapies and multiple neurological checkups to make sure her brain is healing too. Janae says she will forever be indebted for the actions that Richie took to save Lillian.
I wish there was something I could do to repay him, but there's nothing I could do.
Deputy Fire Chief Richie Lucas would like to acknowledge the names on your screen for helping out on Christmas Day. He also released a statement thanking everyone at the department for the bond and dedication for the Christmas miracle. The miracle we observed on Christmas Day serves as a tribute to the men and women I work with. It is an embodiment of the hours of training, attention to detail, accountability, humility, professionalism, and compassion they put into the job every day. I know I can count on them when things are going bad, and that is special to me. We call each other brothers and sisters because we are bonded by events like this, and we are family. I'm so happy for the Howie family and the team of Lewiston firefighters who were able to help Lily come back home.